How can you achieve and maintain business growth? Harvard Business School Executive Education is now accepting applications for a new program, Driving Profitable Growth. Taking place in Boston from October 25th through the 28th, this program focuses on business expansion and organizational growth strategies that can lead your company into the future. Learn more about this 3-day program for senior leaders by visiting hbs.me/growth. That's hbs.me/growth.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hey, friends. Welcome back to a Tuesday edition of Sim's Chat Corner. I wanted to remind everybody real quickly, and I mean real quickly because we don't want to keep our new guest on hold for too long. I am so excited to be hosting Wynn Charles today. It's just unbelievable. I want to start off the show by saying a huge, absolutely huge thank you to Alexa Bigworth for setting up the two of us because obviously, of course, it's not very often that I get a chance this many times in the course of 1 week to interview multiple authors. So first of all, I'm excited about that. Second of all, the magnitude of this individual's accomplishment list is just incredible for such a young lady. So just a couple quick reminders to all my filmmakers and to the people who've been following my New York City Film Festival. Let's make it a point to go ahead and double check the event pages. I've gone ahead and I've posted up an event page literally for every single screening that I'm having, and there's a total of 27 screenings. So, of course, if you would mind sending those out, I will be inviting everybody I know from the New York and New Jersey area. So please keep your eyes posted as far as the event pages go. Obviously, if you want to check out the event itself, Art is Alive Film Festival on Facebook or the website artisalivefilmfestival.yolasite.com. Also want to remind everybody that I have my YouTube channel already set up. We're up to, I think it's 272 interviews there now. Please make it a point, if you can, to go ahead and check out the YouTube channel. Obviously, of course, I'm now linked to Patreon, so if any of you folks want to support the show, which we wholeheartedly advocate 800% of the time, please, please, please make it a point to do so. I would greatly appreciate that. So please go ahead and check that out as well. And I don't want to forget to remind everybody that we also have, I'm off tomorrow. Can you believe it? I have 1 day off. And then Thursday, of course, we're redoing our Sean McGuire interview, and that's Thursday at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then, of course, Friday, we finish off the week with Dr. Greg Summer at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. To those of you that may have forgotten, Greg is actually a fertility expert as it relates to male fertility. By that, I mean he's invented a methodology called TRAK, that's T-R-A-K, in which case individuals can actually test their sperm count at home, meaning in the privacy of their own home, along with other different places. So I'm excited that gents are going to be able to have more of a part of the process as it relates to fertility. It's the very first time I'm having an expert of that kind on the show, so be kind to me. That's all I can say as far as that goes. So I don't want to forget that. And then, of course, obviously in the next few weeks, I'll be doing the big push to continue to have people buying Kerwin's comic book as well. You don't want to forget to check that out on Facebook, and we have a website for that, but the name again is Sergeant Seizure and the Evil Dr. Cuckoo. So you don't want to forget about that. And, of course, obviously my calendar, once the film festival's done at the end of October, November, we'll be finishing up my calendar so that we can release it in December for time for Christmas. Man, that's a lot. I just listened to all that, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm exhausted just listening to that, and I'm me. That's pretty scary, isn't it? Okay, so I think that's all of our announcements and all the stuff that's going on for right now. So without further ado, let's have Wynn come on the line and join us, and we'll start talking about her and all the wonderful things she's doing. Hi, Wynn.
Hi. How are you?
I'm so nervous.
I'm sorry I'm
nervous.
late. And then,
you're
nervous?
Are you kidding me?
Why are you be nervous?
Because you're a big deal. Anytime I have people on my show that are a big deal, I get very nervous. It's true. You're a big deal.
I'm not a big deal, Cindy.
Yes, you are a big deal.
I'm not a big deal. I just published 8 books. I'm working on my 9th. And
See?
if I move while we're doing this interview, that's because I am multitasking, called eating lunch while doing this interview. So,
oh my God, you poor dear.
I will start out with, that's okay. I will start out with this. Cerebral palsy could be developed in the womb, or it could be developed as a traumatic birth injury. I've had cerebral palsy for 30 years. I almost said 40 years, but no, I just turned 30. And I started writing books when I was 23 years old, and I I love it. I consider myself a full-time author, and I consider myself a novelist who is focused on disabilities.
Gotcha. Okay, I have a bunch of different questions about the things that you do because I want to learn some of your background, as a matter of fact. So we're going to bounce around a little bit. We'll talk about the books. We'll obviously talk about you. We'll talk about some of your background. Now, I know that you were originally born in Colorado, and I'm curious to hear about your family because I know they're very inspirational to you. In fact, they're part of the reason why you started off on this journey of writing. Tell us about your family a little bit. Into that.
Yes. Well, my family has always supported my writing career from day one. As a matter of fact, the reason why I was late coming to you was because I just finished up my college class for the week. I'm actually a journalism student, a journalism major at the Academy of Arts in San Francisco. Even though I'm in Colorado, I'm taking classes out of the Academy of Arts.
Nice. And as far as the classes go, how long have you been taking them?
I have been taking them since September, and I will finish up my first semester in December.
Gotcha. I see. Now, talk to us a little bit about this because obviously, of course, I'm just curious. When it comes to, obviously, of course, you have a physical ailment that you deal with. Does that make it a bit more challenging as far as studying or attending class or things like that? I kind of want to get into your realm a little bit and understand, is it more challenging?
Okay. Back up, Cindy. My audio retention is 10 times flat. I can understand audio like there's no tomorrow. And so yes, please. And so I can understand audio like there's no tomorrow. But what makes it challenging and what makes having cerebral palsy and attending classes challenging is that I need audio to almost digital textbooks.
Oh, okay.
So that's what they have given me, and surprisingly, this professor didn't realize until I spoke up, and surprisingly, this professor didn't realize that I had CP until I said, "Whoa, your assignments are not working." So I have to be an advocate for my own self.
Sure. And then, so I have an additional question relative to that. So there's the part that you go to school, obviously, and you attend in class. Now, are there particular things, like have you set up your home or your study environment in a particular way so as to make it easier for yourself to be able to learn at home or do homework or things like that?
Well,
okay.
right now, I am sitting on a basketball office chair, which you guys can find on Amazon. It wasn't designed specifically for cerebral palsy. It was designed for the average person.
I gotcha. And and how much time, when you're doing homework at home, do you find that it takes you a bit longer, meaning that, because all of us obviously find challenges going to school, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm taking classes online. I wish I was taking classes physically, but I'm taking classes online because my local community college actually pulled their journalism degree program.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
That's a shame.
So,
that's horrid.
But I got my original degree in education, by the way. So this is my second degree.
Okay, I gotcha. And
so
when
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
When I asked them, I said, "Do you guys have a journalism degree, associate degree?" They go, "No," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not applying to hear them because they said no." And so I had no choice. I had to apply to the Academy of Arts.
Because the resources are obviously limited as far as what they're offering. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that your mom had passed away in 2010, and she served to be just a pinnacle of hope and inspiration and motivation for you. So tell us about your mom a little bit, and tell us some of the things that she taught you that kind of stay with you today.
Well, she taught me to, and if I seem a little out of it today as I'm giving this interview, I just got my flu shot yesterday, so my body is ravaged by the flu, by a mini flu, thank you very much. And so, but that being said, my mom taught me if you have a challenge, face that challenge and never give up.
Yep. That's a great mentality.
Yeah.
That's absolutely awesome. Yeah. It is. And, of course, was she a creative individual, too? I mean, did she do writing or teaching or art or anything like that?
Yes and no. Yes and no. She actually owned her own jewelry store long before I was born, and then gave that up because of me. Gave her lifelong dream of becoming a solo entrepreneur up because she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of me and my medical needs. And,
Gotcha. I see what you mean. And then as far as your father, was he on the same side of the fence, or was he a strictly sort of a white-collar type person, or what's he like?
He was, and up until 2010, he was in the creative industry. He was a sound mixer for Bob Dylan, Neil Diamond, John Denver, the Pink Floyd. The list goes on and on and on. And then once he retired from that career, he opened up his own business selling audio home entertainment equipment. And he had that business up until 2010.
Oh, nice. Wow. That's really cool.
So,
I got you. It gives us some idea of what you kind of come from. That's awesome.
Is more creative. My dad is more creative than my mom was. I'm sorry, Mom, but you weren't necessarily creative.
But that's okay. You know what? I mean, creativity can be defined in different ways by different people. You know, so it just depends on who you're talking to, obviously. So thank you for that. I can think it's important to kind of see where you came from to get to where you are now, obviously. I find it interesting that you, now as I understand it, you taught yourself how to do art. Is that correct?
I did. I taught myself how to do art because at the time I lost my capability to walk. And now I'm slowly, independently, I'm slowly but surely gaining that back. Thank you very much. And so at the time, I lost my capability to walk. And at the time, I was going to PT, trying to figure out a walker, and going to hell. Thank you very much. The back surgery from hell. The back surgery from scoliosis hell, which almost killed me. And here's a fact for you guys. Those of you who have scoliosis, it's a very common problem. It doesn't, it affects the able body too. And most people, when they develop scoliosis, it's in the state of puberty, which means 16 to 18.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I developed scoliosis that was so bad that they had to do surgery, otherwise I would be dead.
Oh, sure. No, I understand. I do. Now, your artistic capabilities, are they all over the place, meaning that you paint and you draw, etc.? What sorts of art things do you do?
I am a self-taught digital artist, and surprise you guys, after I get my journalism degree, I'll be back to it because this school has really inspired me to go deep dive into it, maybe get my degree and all. No, you never know. And so I consider myself a digital artist who takes photos and manipulates.
Ah, okay. I see what you mean. And then as far as once you take the picture and then you do that, and now do you put them into galleries or other places? Are they shown, or what specifically do you do with that art?
My art is still online. My art is still online. If you go to fineartamerica.com or ImageKind and type in Win, W-I-N, Charles, C-H-A-R-L-A-S, you can find it. My art is still floating around online.
Sure. That's what I thought, because I had saw that recently, and I said, well, I'm going to ask her about this just because of the fact I can't draw. I mean, I can write till the day is long, but I can't draw. I can't take pictures. I can't do any of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, how impressive that you taught yourself. I mean, that's awesome.
I'm taking a class that involves a sketchbook. I've decided I can't draw. It's easier for me to manipulate images.
And that's really cool. I think that's totally cool that you're capable of doing that, because like I said, most of us, even if we had never encountered having any kind of physical disability or mental disability or otherwise, some of us just can't do that, period. So I commend you for that. That's absolutely amazing that you're able to do that. And the other component I wanted to mention, of course, to folks is that you've been coined, or I should say called, an athlete in the past. So talk to me a little bit about your physical regimen and what you've accomplished there.
Well, number one, I'm a bionic woman, meaning I walk in an exoskeleton suit. And I'm not kidding when I say that. There's videos of me to prove it. I'm the first woman ever with cerebral palsy to be walking in an exoskeleton.
That's awesome. Okay.
And I'm the first adaptive snowboarder in the world. I'm actually the second adaptive snowboarder in the world. And I'm also an ex-Kona Ironman triathlete.
My God, I can't even do that. This is exactly why I said I'm in awe of you. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. So we want to talk about that part because, again, some people that are listening in may not be familiar with the limitations or what sorts of maybe minor setbacks that you have relative to cerebral palsy and, let's say, physical exercise. So how complicated is it, or what sort of physical challenges do you have, period, in general? Because when I'm thinking about just doing that sort of athleticism, it's hard enough.
The exoskeleton is a cardio workout for those of us who use it. It's primarily used for people with paralysis, and so that's cardio workout. I have a adaptation on my snowboard that I hang on to, and that's how I snowboard with a snowboard instructor. And how I did the Kona Ironman is someone did pull me in a boat and then did the open water swim that way, and they put me on the back of their bike, and then they did the run with me in a running wheelchair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And unfortunately, we weren't allowed to finish the Kona Ironman because of the priorities of the Ironman race. And for those of you who don't know what the Ironman is and why it's a big deal, it's actually not a big deal. It's considered an Olympic race, but it's a big deal just because of where it is and how they place it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm in awe of this because, like I said, this just, even the word triathlon just means so much work and so much training, et cetera. And so I guess my question to you is, regularly, when you're not being an actual over-the-top sort of athlete here, do you do things to keep yourself physically in shape on a daily basis too? Just to keep yourself motivated and going and keep the body working?
I go to BT every twice a week.
Okay.
I am a retired triathlete. I snowboard in the winter once a week, and I walk every single day.
That's a lot. Wow. I'm in awe of this because I'm like, oh my God, I can't even find time to walk half the time. And here you are running around and doing all of this stuff and doing it with such a positive attitude, that can-do attitude, which is what I like. That's one of the first things I heard about you before I even said, let's have her on the show. You have the yes, I can attitude instead of the no, I cannot, which I think is so important. I want to address that because I think oftentimes in life when people embark on doing something like writing or something creative, it's really hard to get caught up in feeling like you're not going to be good enough or you can't be good enough or feel like you're going to disappoint somebody or you're not going to deliver or do to the best of your ability. What gives you such positive pushing and backing? What keeps you having that positive demeanor that you have every day? What's the background to that?
My fan base, because and I truly say this, without the support of your family, and once you establish a fan base, they keep me going.
Sure.
When I woke up this morning and it felt like a Mack truck got hit by me, I just said, okay, I got to do this interview with Cindy. Somehow get yourself sitting up, and then we'll carry on.
Nice. Very nice. Well, and I try to make it easy on my guests as much as I can. I mean, obviously, of course, we're here to enjoy ourselves and to get the word out about you because, sadly, most people, I out of all the ailments out there, I guess, once a couple of things, because obviously you have CP, I do not. So if I'm going to have a regular interaction with a person who is living with CP every day, what are some of the things you would advise us to do? Maybe not necessarily to help you, because, of course, we don't want to come up. I think oftentimes people want to say, oh, my God, I feel so bad for you. What are some of the things that we can do to kind of keep the normalcy alive? Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's our tendency to kind of feel bad.
When most people, some people with physical disabilities have college degrees. So don't judge us as if we have a disability.
Sure.
And I'm saying that from a journalism standpoint.
I gotcha.
Two, if you see a person struggling in a wheelchair, open the door for them.
Okay.
3, just be kind. Be kind.
I like that last one, definitely. I actually came across somebody in a wheelchair, and they they were in, it wasn't really, I can't remember if it was wheelchair or if it was a walker or whatever have you, and they were pretty adamant about not wanting help. So I'm surprised that you said something like that, because some people can be kind of like, you know what, I can do this myself, da-da-da-da. Well, I would venture to guess you're a person who doesn't like to get help. I would imagine you kind of do everything like.
No. From my personal perspective, help is a good thing. No,
I like that.
I cannot. I can do college classes on my own as long as I'm modified, but I have come to the conclusion that I have to be my own advocate for myself.
Sure. Oh, of course, I know.
And I have
in a way,
to ask for help.
But you are your own best advocate. I do believe that. I oftentimes think that, other people can paint a picture of you, but at the end of the day, you're the person who's kind of your own cheerleader, which is kind of cool because you're really good at cheering yourself on quite a bit, I've noticed. I thought it was interesting. I see that you host something called Butterflies of Wisdom, which I think is super cool.
Yes.
Let's talk about Butterflies of Wisdom. Tell me how you got involved with that and tell the folks what that is.
Butterflies of Wisdom is my baby, and I'm actually concocting, as we do this, as a interview today. I'm actually concocting another podcast which will launch at Christmas or into 2018, probably at Christmas, all about cerebral palsy and having people ask me questions and me having them answered on the podcast.
Okay, I gotcha. And let me ask you something. When you do your podcast, is it similar to what I'm doing, meaning is it across the internet, or how do you do it specifically? What sort of format are you using?
It's a recorded podcast. I did use Blog Talk. I gave up on Blog Talk many, many years ago. So
really?
The day I gave up on Blog Talk for Butterflies of Wisdom, for Wings Women of Wisdom at the time, Butterflies of Wisdom. Now, I couldn't get guests in to the studio, and I remember crying live on air, saying, "That's it. I'm going to switch to iTunes." And at the time, I didn't know how the heck I was going to do it. And then I discovered a recorded podcast.
Wow, crying is never a good thing.
Yeah.
That's sad to hear. I don't like that. That's not. Yeah. That is not a good thing. Definitely not. And do you have specified content or certain individuals what is the premise of your program? Tell the folks specifically what you cover within the course of your podcast.
I'm trying to teach people about living their dreams with a disability. So I interview solo entrepreneurs, I interview audio engineers, I interview book recording artists, audio book artists. I interview, you name it, I've interviewed them. I've interviewed people about podcasting. So I'm trying to teach people about how to respect people with disabilities.
Wow, very nice. And do you find that those that are in the community are open and receptive to the idea of what you're attempting to do? Do you get a lot of support from this?
No.
No,
they're not. They're not. I have to teach. I have to teach. No, they're not. Getting worse and worse and worse because I have to be the advocate for those who can't speak. And no, they're not. They're accepting to a point, but no, they're not opening doors.
That is such a shame, too, because, obviously I think that people who are, and I think a lot of us feel this way, disability does not define you. It doesn't tell anyone who you are. It's just, unfortunately, a part of life that some people live with and some people are blessed to live without. Does that make sense? I think never should there be a disability that defines you or a mental health issue that defines you. We have too much of that in society, that's for sure. And how long have you been doing the Butterflies podcast now? How long has it been?
4 years since the book came out, and actually 7 years, 7 years now on and off in its various formats.
Oh my goodness, that's quite some time actually. Now, if there are people listening in today that want to get involved with that or want to connect with you in regards to that, what's going to be the easiest way to do that? Because do you maintain a regular schedule, meaning daily, weekly, monthly?
The easiest way is just go listen, and the easiest way is to find me on Facebook and DM me. And then private message me or tweet me, Win Kelly Charles, and all my books could be found on Amazon.
Oh, you betcha. Now, the question I have for you is, now that we've covered the podcast portion of it, I want to flip sides a little bit here. I did a little research and I want to get a status on your, you were involved with jewelry design, which I was quite surprised to find out about. There was a article or something I'd read about you, and so I wanted to find out if that's something you're still active in, because I love it when people do things like that.
I wish I was, but the secret is coming out of that. That statement, and people have always thought I could always be fashion designing. Fashion journalism is the closest thing I'll come to fashion designing. because I wrote that in a fictional novel, and even though I'm a self-taught digital artist, now people are thinking I'm designing jewelry, which is not true due to my cerebral palsy.
I gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure about that, and I came across and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to ask her about this because we'll just find out if that's the case or not, actually. So that answers that question, which is fine. Now, because you started writing at the age of 24, and that's a little bit young. Obviously, some of us start a little younger. Some obviously start in their 40s or 50s. Tell the folks that are listening in, if they're interested in pursuing something like this, let's say that they're early 20s. I have a daughter that's early 20s, and they want to do this. Can you give them some helpful hints that really helped you out the first time you started writing? Maybe some go-tos or things that they can reflect on or remember?
Get a mentor, number one. Get a mentor, number one, and use Siri and use Writing Naturally Speaking. Siri has saved my books several times. And that's how I write all my books. My books I use Siri to get the base point down, and then I have an editor, and then I have a ghostwriter to polish it off. But I use Siri to get the base points down.
I gotcha. Okay, I see what you mean. Now, is there I'm trying to phrase this the right way, a specific, let's say, for instance, if Wynn decided she was going to start a new book next week, let's say, have you found that you have a typical turnaround time, meaning like, okay, I'm going to start this month, and then it takes me approximately 3 months every time I write a book? Do you know what I mean? Is there a typical time frame for you?
Well, the first one I gave a year. Now I'm doing it in 4 months because I consider myself a full-time writer, and I'll be turning around a manuscript today.
I gotcha.
I'll be finishing up a manuscript today, and my fourth and final autobiography, and then I'll be sending it off to the appropriate places.
Nice. Very nice. Okay, I gotcha. I just wanted to get a sense of how long things take you and et cetera. I also know one of the things that I think is super cool is you've been featured in the Huffington Post. I am so jealous. I have never written for the Post. I've never been featured in the Post.
I have.
What an exciting honor. That's so cool.
I also write for the Huffington Post, too.
Nice.
And I have been featured in the Huffington Post.
Right. That is very cool. It's a cool gig to get, as a matter of fact. I hear really good things about those guys, as a matter of fact. And I also know one of the things you've talked about doing, and I'm curious to get a status on this, is at one point you had talked about touring, meaning going school to school or institution or business to business, and speaking. And I find that idea...
I'm still trying to do that. When I get my full credentials as a journalist, that is something I will be able to do because I'm going into a job now that is more job security, and I'll be working from home more. And because you and all your fan base knows this right now, teachers don't make enough money, and my original degree is in teaching, and I still teach 1 day a week. But as soon as I get my journalism degree, I'm out of teaching completely, and I'll be a full-time author.
Oh, nice. That's just down to that is so nice, isn't it? Full-time author. I love it when I say that about myself. I'm like, that's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, actually. Now, you're not concerned about, would it be complicated for you to try to do a traveling tour? Because I'm not quite sure how difficult it is for you to go city to city.
The means to do it. I have aides who fly with me. I have my family is really supportive. If I wanted to go speak, I just have to make arrangements with my aides, and I have people that fly with me. I have girlfriends that fly with me. I can do it. I'm not concerned in the least. They're so excited. As a matter of fact, when I walk out in San Francisco in December, my aide is so excited to see me walk.
Oh,
my
bet.
associates doing. So I can do it.
I bet you can. I have every belief that you can, as a matter of fact. Plus, I think that you can bring something to the table to individuals that listen to you. They can get motivated. They can get serious about doing something that they dream about, that they live or think about, that they never tried before, which is exciting. I have to ask you now, because obviously you've been writing for some time now, et cetera. One of the things that I suffer from, and I'm curious to see if because you're obviously a fellow writer, one of the things we talk about a lot on my show is avoiding that perpetual writer's block, because I throw pencils, I get very irritated when I get stuck. So how do you handle that whole plethora?
It's so funny you say that, because Siri only works in short amount of time, writing naturally speaking, which I'm finally acquiring, thank you very much, works in a longer amount of time. And so stories, I can write out the yin yang. Journalism, I got finally handed it over to my ghostwriter. I said, you name these chapters. So that's my writer's block, naming of the chapters.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Well, do you find that anything helps? Like some writers will say just walk away from it for a little while, like take 24 hours and not do any writing. Some people will go to a different environment, you know.
I don't. If it was coming to worse, I hand it over to my dad and make him name the chapters for me, because writing I can do, interviews I can do, but naming of the chapters, my God, it stumps me.
How funny. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I totally get it. Been there, done that. I know the frustration, lived it, so I totally understand what you're saying, completely without a doubt. Well, and the other thing, too, is how do you come up with your particular subject matter or some of the just the array of different sorts of things that you talk about within the course of your books? Obviously, of course, I Win is kind of obvious, but do you get inspired or get some sort of ideas from certain specified people in your life, things that have happened to you? Where does some of that momentum or motivation come from?
I get inspired by life. I get inspired by my life.
That's a great inspiration. It's one of the best inspirations, actually. And I guess I should ask you if you have gotten to that point in your life where you've fallen in love, because usually falling in love is a great inspiring. It's a very nice moment in life, because I wasn't quite sure if you were single or if you had someone in your life. We like to always talk about the romance.
I am single, and I plan to stay single. I mean, I've been chased by guys. When you have a disability, you can't really get married.
Really?
It's a long story, and when you have a disability and when you're on assistance from the government, and you can't really get married. So what we have to do is either have our assistance taken away or do it as a domestic partnership. And I don't want, and this is the first time I've been on a podcast, what's going on, and I don't want to, I am thinking about the domestic partnership, but I don't want to get married, because no, I have all my benefits. No, I don't want them taken away.
No, I understand. I do. They do say that love is one of the best things that kind of motivates the soul a little bit, but you can get that from other places, that's for sure, certainly. Now, of course, we want to talk about the most recent book that I had been looking at, which is, of course, obviously, I Win. It's called My Journey as a Disabled Woman Living in a Disabled World. Talk to me a little bit about that, living in a disabled world. I thought that was a really neat, interesting title, to be honest with you. So I'm guessing, because I haven't been able to see all of this book 150%, I haven't read the entire thing. So tell us a little bit about, summarize it if you would a bit for our audience, and then talk a little bit about how we can become more of a enabled world versus a disabled world.
Well, first of all, you gotta open your heart and gotta open Google. I'm sorry, but that's my number one rule. Hello, Google any disability. Google, or ask people. I get so aggravated when people don't ask me about certain things in my life. They automatically assume that I can do interviews at 8 a.m. They automatically assume that I can do all this stuff, and they forget that I have a disability.
Oh, right. So I guess we should ask you that question.
And so, yeah.
So if we're talking to someone or if we're working with someone who is affected by CP, are there specific, just maybe general things that all of you kind of, you know what I mean, like things that we should all think about, like the fact that, okay, for instance, you can be up, do you know what I'm trying to say? Set some parameters for us. Like, for instance, if we're going to work with you, we need to know what about CP exactly?
That CP is a physical disability, sometimes cognitive disability.
And I guess I also want to ask you the other question, which is clearly not only is this a disability that affects you physically, but I would venture to guess mentally as well. Have you come to terms with, I know people that I've spoke to before that have ailments, et cetera, always have to come to a point where they're able to accept it and deal with it. And have you dealt with all those emotions and you're coping with well, unfortunately having to live with this as a part of your life?
Yes. And I'll be coping. I have to be really careful of my heart because as with Down syndrome, CP has a weakened immune system. So I have to be really careful of my heart.
Sure. Because you don't want anything obviously happening there, which I had no idea, as a matter of fact. See, we learn something new every day, folks. You just have to ask the right questions, obviously. Certainly. Yeah. And do you also participate in, I'm curious about this, for those that are listening in that might have an ailment similar to this, or even CP for that matter, because I might have followers that have that. Do you believe we've established enough support groups and enough resources for individuals living with CP?
Nope. I am the CP support group. People come to me. Nope. I don't have access to support groups where I live. Never will. Nope.
Oh, no.
Don't ask me that question.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You just got me on a soapbox. But nope, my mountain and valley development won't, because I'm so high functioning, they won't accept me.
Oh,
nope.
I see what you're talking about.
So I am battling this disability myself. I am a huge advocate for those with other disabilities. That's why I started the podcast.
It blows my mind away that we live in 2017 and things are still like that, which they obviously should not be, clearly. If I were to ask you a year from now, where would you like to be? Meaning, what do you see yourself doing? What do you see yourself accomplishing? What would that answer be?
Repeat the question again, Cindy.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. If we look a year down the road, and here you are, and I say to Wynn, okay, a year from now, is there anything in particular you want to know that you've accomplished, meaning whether it's another book, or what are some of your goals for the next year that you want to accomplish?
Getting number one on Amazon, which I have already done, and getting to the New York Times bestseller list.
New York Times bestseller list. Oh, my gosh. I've not been on that either. That's totally exciting. Oh, my God, yeah.
Self-published book. I want to get to the New York Times bestseller list, and my fan base knows that publicly. That's why I'm working so fucking hard on this, and excuse my French, on this journalism degree.
No, I totally understand. And it is a lot of work, actually, and it takes a lot of dedication, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of patience, and No, I totally understand what you're talking about there as far as that goes. Do you see yourself doing another triathlon, or do you see, I mean, because obviously
Nope.
you have three components
Nope.
here. Really?
No,
Now that's
because
surprising.
triathletes are so self-centered that, and it's only so much the human body can take.
Oh, I gotcha. I totally
Nope.
understand what you're saying.
Nope.
Okay.
And
Got it.
nope. And I have talked to other triathletes, and they agree with me that triathletes are so focused on the win that they're not focused on raising awareness for disabilities.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, then I guess my other question is, of course, too, because you have done the physical stuff, you've done the art as far as being an actual artist, and, of course, writing. Which one is your favorite?
Writing.
That's what I figured. It goes hand in hand with the degree, obviously. That's awesome, though.
Yep.
That's terrific. So do you think you'll ever do before I interviewed you, I thought to myself, I could see you doing a children's book. You have not, have you?
I have done a children's book. I just don't talk about it very much, and I plan to do another one.
Oh, nice. See, so I was right. Yeah, I kind of thought my intuition was kind of on point there. I thought, maybe she should have or should do one if she hasn't already. So that's awesome. That is. It's really cool.
Yep.
Well, I have just a few business things to do here. Can you believe we've been doing this almost an hour? See, this time goes so fast. It's amazing, isn't it? It's like you get on and then it's like, bam.
It's amazing.
Well,
it's amazing.
This tends to happen. But I want to read off this list, and when I get done, I'll read off everything. You just let me know when I'm finished if I forgot anything, okay? This is all the different ways that I've found to find Win Charles on either social media or otherwise. So I'll read them all, and then you let me know. She can be found at the following places: Google+, YouTube, iTunes, Amazon, Goodreads, LinkedIn, Smashwords, butterfliesofwisdom.weebly.com. That would be the podcast we were referring to. She is on Facebook. Her actual page is Win Kelly, and that's Kelly, and then Charles. And her Twitter handle at Win Kelly Charles. Any other place I forgot? Anything else I might have forgotten in terms of any place to find you? Oh, my God, I found you everywhere. Yay, that's absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited. So now my only other question is this. By chance, do you ever do public appearances, or are there places that people can come and shake your hand or meet you? Let's say they listen today and they want to come and find you.
Well, when I fly out to the West Coast to graduate, we're actually planning on a small book signing. So be prepared for that, and be prepared for me to make my step on the journalism road.
Oh, my God, how exciting. That's so exciting. Well, let me tell you something. I want to remind you of two things here. First of all, just so that you know this, in about 2 hours from now, this show that we just did live will be archived, and I'll make sure that we send you a copy of this. I put my shows, they're on Blog Talk Radio, but I have a YouTube channel too. So we'll go ahead and I'll get you a copy of this interview as well as the one that's on YouTube, because I'll put it up there. So that you know, but usually it's about 2 hours or so. And then the last thing I wanted to do was just to tell you what I think of you. I do this to all my guests, actually. At the end of the interview, I usually will tell someone what I think of them, because I think it's important that people know my shows are all scripted. I write everything up until the end of the show. So that means everything I'm about to say to you now is completely not written or scripted. It's just from my heart. It's just impressions that come personally and professionally. So from me to you, there's just a few things I want to say before I let you go. Before I forget, though, Alexa Bigworth is the reason why you and I have met one another. So, Alexa, I just want to send a big hug and a kiss out to you. There are no words for that woman. I mean, well, I've said many words about her, but the ones that come to mind are usually either hero or humble or honest and hardworking, wonderful mother, wonderful wife, wonderful person. Alexa, I can't thank you enough for bringing this wonderful woman to my show. I cannot thank you enough. As I always say, she has some of the best clients. So for me to you, Win, this is what I have to say to you. When I first started researching you, I literally never once did I try to think about the fact that you had CP. I wanted to make sure that everything that I did and everything I researched was about you and not so much about the fact that you had CP. One of the most impressive things that I found out about you is that you are so honest about crediting your family for being so inspiring and being so moving to you, which I find so touching. Some of us don't have that family connection. So for one, you're very lucky to have that. For another, you're a very intelligent, very hardworking, very honest, and very real and raw person. Don't ever lose that quality, because I imagine that that's probably going to take you places you have no idea. I have every hope that you're going to make it through journalism school quickly and easily, because you're very smart and you're very determined. Determination and drive and passion are three things that you possess, and you should also hold on to those qualities. One of the coolest things about this interview today is that I got to interview someone that I truly admire, and I do admire you, not because of the fact that you live every day with a physical disability, which I can't even begin to wonder what that's like. But one of the biggest reasons I admire you is that you set out a dream and that you chased it and that you're living it every day, day in and day out, and you're not letting anything stop you. I think you're an incredible person, and I thank you for coming, and I hope that you'll come back and visit me again sometime, anytime.
I will. I will, Cindy. I will. When my latest book is out, and then I will, for those of you on the West Coast in the San Francisco area, please keep tabs on me, because when I walk, I'm making a trip out of it if my schedule allows.
Oh, gotcha. That would be nice, too, actually. And keep me posted on that, because I don't live on the West Coast, but I can certainly get there because I travel for work, obviously. That would be nice, certainly. And like I said, I'll wait about 2 hours or so. We'll send you a copy of this over as far as the interview, so that you can go ahead and send it out to all of your people and everybody can go back and listen to it. And I mean it. Please don't be a stranger. This was wonderful.
You have my email address, I presume.
I do. I have your contact information. I know how to get a hold of you, definitely. I just hope I did a good enough job for you. I do.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate that. That's what we aim to, make people happy on the show and to introduce them to new and interesting people, and you're definitely that, my dear. Certainly. Keep doing what you're doing because it works for you. Truly.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You betcha. Now stay in touch.
Thank you for having me on.
Anytime. Like I said, don't be a stranger. Feel free to come back and visit me. I like repeat visitors. I really do.
Thank you.
Anytime, dear. You have a great afternoon. I'll talk to you soon. So that was the inevitably inspirational Win Charles. Tell me she's not fabulous. Absolutely. Right? Thank you very much. That's what I'm saying, too. And I'm reminding all you people one more time. That was the lovely and talented Win Charles. She can be found on the following places: Google+, YouTube, iTunes. She did make an appearance on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Goodreads, LinkedIn, Smashwords. Her Facebook is actually Win, and that's Kelly, Kelly, Charles. And, of course, the podcast you're referring to, which is called Butterflies of Wisdom, it's butterfliesofwisdom.weebly.com. And then her Twitter handle is and that's Win Kelly Charles. And I want to remind everybody the name of the book, again, is called I Win, My Journey as a Disabled Woman Living in a Disabled World. So inspirational from many different standpoints. And she is 100% dead on when she talks about that. It's oftentimes that we hear in society that there are just scarce amounts of resources for individuals who are either disabled or struggling with a physical handicap. And that's something that we need to change. I know people oftentimes complain about the fact that I have such a large mouth, but trust me when I tell you that sometimes it's a huge benefit to not stand back and be silent about certain things that you shouldn't be. Once again, I want to say a huge thanks to Win for taking the time, and I know it was kind of inconvenient for you, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. The fact that you came onto the show and that you got to talk to us and express your opinions and views about not only your life, but, of course, all of your work. One more big, big hug, and I meant everything that I said. Obviously, of course, this entire interview would not have been possible without Alexa Bigworth and her efforts. So obviously, of course, not only support Win, but of course support Alexa as well. She is also a podcaster at Lose the Cape Podcast. She is also the owner and director of Write, Publish, and Sell, which of course I am an actual member of. And she's done some books herself, numerous ones. In fact, the one off the top of my head that rings a bell is Grieving Mothers, Sunshine After the Storm, A Survival Guide. She, of course, can also be found on Amazon, and her name, again, is Alexa. The last name is Bigwarfe. That's Bigwarfe. So that takes care of today's news. So before I forget, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be off the air. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited about that, the fact that I actually get a day off. However, I will be back on air clearly on Thursday. That's at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. And, of course, we're going to be speaking with Sean. I should say, let me give you the exact name of my guest, only because of the fact that I think he's actually, and I don't know if his publicist knows this, but he is actually synonymous with another very high-profile singer out there. And not, I mean, I'm sure he would love to be confused with this person, but his name is actually Terrence Shawn, and that's Terrence, and it's S-H-A-W-N, McGovern, M-C-G-O-V-E-R-N. M-C-G-O-V-E-R-N, if I could speak. He's a young 21-year-old musician that actually has spent time going back and forth between LA and New York. He's trying to establish himself as a R&B/hip-hop artist. Super sweet guy, very, very super motivated, super talented, and most of all, very, very humble. I am truly excited about this guy because he's very young. He's trying to establish his roots. So like I said, that's Thursday at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then on Friday, we finish the week off, and that's at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. And that will be with Dr. Greg Summer. And again, I want to remind everybody, if you get a second, go ahead and check out the product. It's TRAK, which is a male infertility product. So looking forward to that as well. So I want to say thanks so much to absolutely everybody that's been listening in. I appreciate it. Wynn appreciates it. Alexa appreciates it. We're up to 62,300 listeners, folks. I cannot thank you enough. You're the reason I've got the show, so thanks again, and we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Take care.